You might think that this music means Bethany's on today. Hoping to pull that out tomorrow. Back remote, the one and only Alexandria Thomas. Hi there.
Hiya.
How are you?
Good. What would my intro music be? Like, and not because we have to talk about it because of what's coming up, but my family and I had a conversation the last time we were together, and we said, what if we had intro music? What would it be?
It's a great time. You know what? I'm going to put that on the Q Facebook page.
What would our intro music be? Like, what would yours? What would mine be?
What did you come up with?
I didn't, so I struggled. My brother's was mystical, and Tom, it was a, no. It was like I forget. It was some mystical song. My buddy's was Waka Flocka song, and Thomas was Tupac.
Which one?
Ambitions of a Rider.
I don't know that one. Right off the top of my head, I mean, I like all the intro stuff that we use here. I'm very much James Gunn released the Volume 3 Guardians soundtrack. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to hearing some of those songs that the genres of music I never liked before.
Nice.
Off the top of my head, can I do Backstreet Boys Larger Than Life?
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Because the intro is so good.
But we do have to find an intro music first.
Yeah, I don't know. Explain this because we were crossing wires. We've been crossing wires. Well, we've been missing crossing wires accurately all week long via text. So
it was the "Are you drunk?" question for me last night, and I was like, "Oh my God, no!" And I was trying to explain something to you, and it just wasn't working. Anyway, we have something coming up in a few weeks, and part of that event, when we are brought up, is that we are brought out to a song of our choice, like an introduction. So we have to pick one.
We can't talk about this now?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's been made public yet. I haven't seen it, and I'm not sure.
Well, how about that? I'll say that the venue is very prestigious. Mm-hmm. Not a place Alex and I would typically be. So
no.
What song would be the most inappropriate to play at that venue? I think I actually have it.
Yes, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
Something DMX. Wait.
She got a little bit of stomach.
No, definitely not.
Did you see Lizzo last night on Mandalorian?
No. Why? No, I saw her sharing something with Jack Black, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what was that about?
Last night was whenever you watch The Mandalorian, spoiler, it's the most like cameos, even voice cameos that I can remember. It's like they did this whole episode for cameos because she's in it, he's in it, Christopher Lloyd is in it.
No. Mm-mm.
So, all right. So intro music. We can't talk about. Okay, let me continue this without saying what that is. And I haven't said anything publicly. One other person among my 6 that I'm allowed to have said you should invite your dad.
You do need to invite Barry. That was I like when I found out what was going down a couple weeks ago, which I did. I'm like, this is perfect for Barry to come up. It's going to be warmer, hopefully outside, and the weather should be okay, hopefully, for the drive, I mean. And this would be such a good opportunity for Barry to come, especially it is a prestigious business location that we'll be at, and there will be other people there of note besides us, of course. And I thought this would be great.
It's a wonderful idea. He's never told me like maybe one time I can remember. He's never told me like I'm so proud of, doing all that. I'm so happy that you've been like none of that proud dad stuff. We don't say I love you, but I don't need to hear any of those things. In fact, it might be weird to hear them. Like I don't need to hear that stuff. He'd never told me, but anyone who knows me would never think I don't love my dad or vice versa
Sure.
or anything like that. And it would be weird. Like I'm having a hard time explaining it. He doesn't need to tell me he's proud of me, and I don't need all that support because I know that he is without him even saying it. So,
But I think it would just be really nice for your dad to see his son in, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, this event is going to be honoring you in some way. And I feel like it, you know what I mean? Not only do I think it's good for you to have your dad there to support you, yes, but I think, like, for my mom, this is just as important for her as it is for me.
oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So,
And
give it a try.
and I could use a pretzel refill.
Yeah, give it a try.
Did I want to get anything else with? I'm a little somber today.
Why?
The thing that Diddy had taken off appears to have regrown.
Oh,
So he has an appointment next week anyway.
okay.
And it is what it is. So
Yeah.
we'll
Maybe
handle
they'll
it.
have to dig a little deeper. Like maybe they didn't do as extensively as they probably would. Now that they know it's growing back, regrown.
But I guess these things do grow back. So I'm glad he has that appointment. I'm glad, whatever. So, I managed to word this so I didn't come off as completely heartless, and I know we agree. And the podcast is always among friends here, but you kids can keep walking out of schools all you want, but they don't do anything for dead kids splayed all over schools. They're not doing anything for living kids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some of us gave up after Sandy Hook.
Right.
So
Right.
I do think that there is going to be, I think in our future, I don't know if it's going to be in a year or 2 years or longer, but we are going to see some sort of change. Like, I feel like there will be something that sways the, like, right-wing party to, like, actually participate in making a difference. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I feel like it's coming. Something tells me, I mean, while all of these kids, like, walking out, all the kids that were down in Tennessee, I think they said there was something like 10,000 or something like that. While that's not really going to make a huge difference, it was still a little, like, the fact that they're coming out in numbers of that size. I just have a feeling there's, we have change is coming. I just don't know what it's going to look like.
I'll disagree.
Okay.
Simply because you were talking about something like, I can see changes like when we talk about gay marriage and transgender, all those things. And I know we had an abortion thing. That is not in the Constitution, so it provides flexibility. In fact, there was a wonderful Supreme Court of Milwaukee win the other day to ensure that I believe abortion rights still continue in Wisconsin. Like that was a big deal. This thing's in the Constitution. If it's in the Constitution, they will fight tooth and nail to keep it in there and make sure it is not changed.
But but it did at one point. I mean, there was an assault rifles ban at one point. I think it was in the
90s.
Clinton administration.
And it got rescinded real fast.
It did. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily what we have to have, but I think that, like, I'm not saying that has to be the solution, but I think that finding, and I don't know, but okay, I don't know how to explain this. While I agree that something needs to happen, I also strangely still understand that it's also not going to make a damn difference.
Right.
And I feel that's difficult for me to kind of say or come to terms with. Like, I just truly don't feel like it's going to make a difference, because those who want to cause harm and do damage are going to find their way to cause harm and do damage, no matter what restrictions you place on them. So, I mean, this person that committed those crimes in Nashville, the parents only knew of one weapon. So the parents had essentially done the right thing by observing that we are aware that our child has a weapon, and we are aware that they're not well at the moment, and we would like them to surrender their firearm for that reason. That's exactly what happened. Yet the parents just didn't know that there was 6 other firearms in their possession. So I don't know. Like, do I think that we can create some kind of like better policy around something like that? Does somebody get flagged for buying multiple weapons in one period of time? Like in 12 months, Joe has bought six weapons, 3 of them firearms, 2 of them pistols. You know what I mean? Like, and then he gets red flagged, and then they do some investigating. I don't know. Can we do a better job with stuff like that? Yes, but I don't think I don't know if it's gonna make a difference.
I agree, and I don't like getting into the politics of it and how people can procure these things. It is the theatricality. It is just like we have talked about this not long ago. Like it's the thing, shooting like broken people shooting up public places, and I always come back to this. Do you recall what my even worse fear is?
No.
Let's just get a car and let's just get a sick person and drive a car through people. It provides far more carnage.
I mean, you saw I've watched very closely the trial of that Darrell Brooks, who drove his car through the
is that Manhattan,
the Wisconsin? No, it was Wisconsin. Okay. It was the Christmas Day parade.
Okay, yeah. If that ever like caught on, there would be. Like, in a way, we should be thankful that it hasn't caught on, because you can kill and you can create far more carnage than that. And again, there's so much minutia into this, but to the base point of like they will always fight tooth and nail because they are staunch constitutionalists, whereas some other things like the social things that we talk about, they're not as ingrained in there, so they can't fight it as much, but they can. And
I mean, the constitutionalists I can like empathize with, but there's some people that are just being difficult because they don't want you to tell them what they can and cannot have, no matter if they need it or not. They don't. Like, I know some people that have had to use their rifles many times, and I know other people where it's collecting dust. And it probably is out of service and doesn't even work properly anymore because it has sat for so long. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. But like you and I agree, it's just not going to change.
We're talking because locally, the Southview kids walked out yesterday, and so far as I know, no teachers had an issue with it. Whitmer, in fact, I think some of the administration and teachers had helped out. Whitmer did the same. That's why it was local. One quick other thing that is kind of tied to this, and I'm glad I didn't see it, but John Fetterman, I believe, went back to work and did a sit down with one of the news ladies. You know who he is, right?
Yeah.
The senator from PA who beat Dr. Oz and was quickly into his tenure. Maybe it was him having to wear suits. I don't know, but he went to seek treatment for depression and anxiety and stepped away from his duties. And, that was one of the high-profile races, and it got really testy at times, as, things are tending to do these days. And my point was, well, thank goodness the Republicans are all about mental health now after places get shot up, so they won't make fun of John Fetterman, because any other time they would make fun of John Fetterman for whatever antiquated puns they could make at him, like that's not what men do, that's not whatever. But they're all about mental health now, right? Because anytime places get shut up, they're like, we need to fund mental health.
So John Fetterman, I don't know, like I feel things, because he also had a stroke and he came back to work. He came back to work after recovering from his stroke, still having some of the side effects that involved his speech and his ability to process things. And he was still like on the national stage trying to win that election. He had a stroke during his, during the
campaign.
Like, yeah. And I'm just like, what are you doing, sir? Like, go take care of yourself. Like it was, to me, I felt really bad for him because I knew that people weren't going to hold back. And it's like, well, he can't do his job because he can hardly use his words properly or speak. And, and now with the depression, I do think they're going to, we know it's a smokescreen. Like we need to fund mental health. They don't want to fund mental health. I know you know that. But like, it's just they're shit. Like they're gonna. I don't know.
Like it was completely tongue in cheek. Like I'm sure they're sitting in the meeting and they're like, guys, we can't do the mental health thing here because a bunch of people just got shot and we say, yeah. So that was like the first thing that I noticed from that. Hey, in lighter things, what else is going on?
I don't know. This week has really dragged on, and it's also been very difficult. And I don't know if like yesterday's non-storm, but like the weather change, we woke up in the morning and it was like a muggy 80 degrees first thing in the morning. And now it's like literally 51 degrees outside that I'm looking at. I don't know if it's sucked up like all the oxygen from the air, but my brain is mush. My coworkers' brains are mush. We're exhausted. I can fall asleep in the drop of a hat. And I've been like that all week. Productivity is low. I'm ready for the weekend.
I bet you're not alone. This, I guess, is yesterday was weird. Although we're supposed to get up into the mid 80s late next week.
Literally multiple days next week too, like 4.
Can I ask for you to celebrate? Can you celebrate a victory lap of mine?
A birthday? Yeah, I can, of course.
No, a victory lap of mine.
I know, but there's a birthday coming too. Duh.
I don't know what you're talking about. I told you winter was over.
No, I told you. Excuse me. Don't take my victory lap and call it your victory lap. I say this all the time. All the time.
All right. Well, we can both take a victory lap.
I'm fine with that. Also, is it that, like, I feel like, okay, have you seen some of it was recently severe weather week, so we were talking a lot about severe weather. I didn't realize that our severe weather season begins around this time. But did you see that they are like, that our tornado alley, U.S. tornado alley is like shifting east, and then there's another one popping up that includes Kentucky, Indiana, and parts of Ohio?
Kind of. Actually, I was talking to Paul about this last night, my brother, because they have some warnings and watches now. And I'm like, Paul, I don't ever remember these from when we were kids. He's like, no, they like every now and then. But it is. He pointed out, and I forget, he used to be a big time weather nerd. And somebody out there will talk about this and will recognize the difference. Here, at least in this area, I think we get like quick touchdowns. I remember what he said. Like the ones that we get, they do cause a lot of chaos, unfortunately, but they're real quick. The tornado alley that people are more familiar with, like,
they go for miles.
Yes. Like you see them coming from like half a state away, and it's like seriously end of the world, Twister, Wizard of Oz shit, and they just rip everything because they have nothing to stop them.
Well, we did get the one that tore out an entire school. Like that one caused some big damage.
Correct, but I mean, you illustrated like the one I was talking about, where they just go and go and go. Whereas I think when they list tornadoes here, and I know that there might have been one spotted over the weekend or something, I think that they are literally materialized for seconds.
Well, so you're talking about the one in Dundee, and based on the photos, that did cause some damage, like some expensive damage in an area where they would not have been expecting it. I know the few that have touched down in our area in the last like decade were near where I live. So, one of them took out a gas station. The other one took out a big business. And then the other one took out an entire school and that surrounding neighborhood. So it's just, but I feel like there's so much more conversation around it, which is interesting to me. I mean, I don't mind it because like I've always said I enjoy exciting weather, but I just don't want anybody to die or be harmed.
Right.
But,
all the people that were yesterday and what happened and how it was kind of a dud is why Ryan Weekman is brilliant for getting the hell off of Twitter, because you just don't need that kind of that blowback. Like people get upset that a forecast didn't materialize as predicted, even though time changes, weather changes, blah. Like every second, things can be different. But like, thank God it was a dud yesterday.
Right. So Detroit had similar coverage. It was like the storm had been predicted. I think it was okay. So it was a Wednesday storm, and I think we found out over that weekend that we were going to get some weather on Wednesday, and it was very low risk. But then it kept changing and intensifying, for our area and up through Detroit. But I like it's tough because the weather that we were getting Friday night, like opening day night and into that morning, they were like, hey, we're just going to be getting some storms. And then like 2 tornadoes touched down, one in Lima and one in Dundee. And they hadn't talked about it at all. And so what do you do,
Well, this goes back to my clumsy point of these things are quick, like 15-year-old boys losing their virginity. They materialize for seconds, they wreck something, and they go on. As opposed to like the Tornado Alley places where when one touches down,
right.
like it's not a school, it's a city.
Yeah.
And maybe those are just harder to predict. That's why it's always caution, 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 caution. Better to be safe than sorry.
So I am, my goal is still to move. We go to our house tomorrow, so wish us luck. But where we live, I absolutely love where I live, and I'm sad to leave it because I know I'm coming into the city. But where I live is rural enough where you can, spin 360 and you can see for miles away. You see sky, there's no trees blocking your view or buildings blocking your view. And there's a specific spot on our property near where our apartment is, like where our apartment door is, where I can walk outside and walk up this hill and I can sit on the hill. Like I think you've seen some of my videos where I like to watch the storms come in. You can also watch like the fireworks during the holidays, and it's just really a nice place to kind of sit and hang out when the sun sets. They are building, there was a cornfield on the other side of that hill that I think they sold it because they're building like a trailer park, like a mobile home, a community. Sorry, that's the appropriate thing to call a mobile home community right there. And I'm like, there goes my spot. Like now that I can go up to that hill and I'm looking into somebody's backyard, like, you know what I mean? It's no longer this like quiet, peaceful area. And I'm kind of like, thank God I'm moving. But then at the same time, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss being able to watch the storms come in. You don't really see that anymore. And as in like I could see them all the way out in Indiana. You could see them up into Michigan and up into Indiana. So they would be like an hour away from us, where now wherever I move, I'm going to see it as it's coming in. And I'm one of those kind of people. I lived on Lake Erie in Cleveland, so I had line of sight for a long way, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to miss that. You
just monologue there as if you have already purchased a house and are in the process of moving.
No. We tour one tomorrow. I don't know. I guess you never know. Like, you never know these things. I have noticed that there's a lot of homes hitting the market compared to what was going on in early March. There's like, in my opinion, there's lots. Like, there's multiple new ones a day, but it's still like quite a lottery. So it's not a good strategy to try to go for homes that hit the market that day anymore. I mean, our strategy up until now was the day it hits the market, we tour it and then make an offer. But you're really in a pool with like 30 buyers. So we're touring one that I feel like nobody's really going to want. And I don't know, like, no feeling is a good feeling for me, because I will, in one breath, I'm like, yeah, nobody's really going to want this. And then all of a sudden there's multiple buyers and I don't get it. And then in the next breath, I'm like, ooh, everybody's going to want this. Let me take it serious. I'm probably going to be a little anxious. And then there's multiple buyers and I don't get it. So it is what it is. We're going to tour something tomorrow that I'm fine. I think it's around the corner from Bethany. I'm fine with. It'll do for, 5 to 6 years, however long I'm in there.
You are in an emotionally abusive and traumatic house buying relationship.
I am. I hate it. And I just want it to be, at this point, I want it to be over with. So Jordan, bless his heart, our realtor, he's been sending me some of the newer homes that are hitting the market. And I feel like I'm done. Like, I feel like I have broken up with the idea that I'm going to get anything that I want, really. And that I'm just going, and then I know I'm going to settle, and I'll be damned if I settle at the top of my budget. So I'm going to settle way down below my budget, way below my budget, and live free. And that's it. So
You know, when you began this, I think it might have been as COVID got going. I don't know. And whenever I drive past them, and you've already mentioned one, I was like, you know what? I deterred her from that idea, and I was wrong. Not wrong, but it might have been the best
A mobile
play.
home?
Yup.
Yeah, but I would not live in a mobile home community. So if I got a mobile home, I'd smack it on some land out where I live now. Does that make sense? I'm not
Yes.
a fan of the mobile home communities. I'd rather, in fact, Thomas just sent me one this morning that is out in our area, and it is on land, but it's an older one. So, because a lot of these mobile homes don't even look like they used to on the inside and on the outside. So, they've done things to destigmatize them, if that makes any sense. But I would prefer not to live in a mobile home community. I'd rather live on our own land, out in the country somewhere where I can have a decent yard and fun stuff.
I call them tornado targets.
Well, you can build them on basements.
Oh, I know, but like somehow tornadoes always like seek out mobile home communities.
Yeah, I could see that. No, so tomorrow it is what it is. It's up by you guys. It's off of Hill, like 3 doors down from the 475 bridge. And hopefully it works out and we can take it and get this shit over with.
Last thing, do you have any Kid Rock comments?
What an idiot. Like, who cares? Who cares? Did you even drink Bud Light? Are you going to switch to another alcoholic beverage? Who cares? I was a little confused about why Bud Light wanted to make this partnership. I don't know if it was necessary, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. Like, I could understand making a partnership with, I don't know, I guess Dylan is trending and, that trending influencer of the year or whatever you want to call it. So I guess that makes sense. But, yeah, that was just dumb. I mean, it was like an eye roll. Like, and he's the kind of person that would call someone else a snowflake. Yet you have done
right.
Like, you know what I mean? That I hate that. Like, I hate those kinds of people, really, and people who make actions like those. Yet in the same breath will call somebody else sensitive and snowflake, and they blow in the wind. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was just dumb. What are your thoughts?
I didn't really have, like, I was watching it and it was all like very confusing why I saw and I didn't read the story. I just saw pictures of a Bud Light can with a rainbow on it. Kid Rock in his normal attire. I think there was a gun. Then I started reading the jokes and I'm like, what's going on here? And then I read the story and I would not want Bud Light supporting. That's not a brand I would want supporting me because, I mean, I get it. I drink the Lime-A-Ritas. They're just like there are just certain places I would not want to be aligned with as certain image things, but whatever.
I think so too. I mean, it could have been there's nothing wrong with the partnership. I just don't get it. And I feel like it would have made a lot more sense if they would have announced this partnership that lasts for 30 days, if they would have announced it on June 1st and the partnership was for the entire month because that's Pride Month. That makes complete sense. And for the entirety of Pride Month, Bud Light is releasing special editions and whatnot. Like, makes complete sense. I don't really know what this is the purpose of this partnership, but whatever. Dylan is great. I actually paid the money.
Who?
Dylan, that's his name. Dylan Mulvaney.
Is that a person who is a performer and what's happening?
No, Dylan is the transgender female that Bud Light made the partnership with that Chris Rock got pissed off at. So they made a partnership with Dylan Mulvaney, who is the trending influencer of the year.
Got it.
And it just doesn't make sense.
I'm very nonplussed and ambivalent about this because I want to go, Bud Light, how about you just make good beer. But then I go, there's too many goddamn craft brewers. So, like, I'm just pulling myself out of the whole beer conversation, and I will continue to sip on my Lime-A-Ritas.
I just feel like it would have made a whole lot more sense if it was
You're right.
something related to Pride Month. Like, I think and I think people like Kid Rock and other people would have been like, okay, they're doing something for Pride Month. Like, that makes sense.
But then again, maybe this was all just like Subway having a Cadbury Subway melt tomorrow. I asked, they're only in London. I went, Philip, to go find me one. You just do stuff to get attention, because if it wasn't Pride Month, like you just said, maybe people would be a shrug. But knowing that you can like incense Kid Rock to start his April, you get the attention.
I guess so. It's just gross. And then what was I going to ask? So, what are your thoughts? I am very excited for this coming Wednesday to see the ProMedica Live lineup.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
We're carrying it on QN05.
You're what?
We're carrying it on QN05.
You're going to, like, air it live, you mean?
The press conference. And I would not. I mean, we've had Tonic twice. I would not get your hopes up.
I love Tonic. So that's okay. Then you're talking to the wrong person, because I really love Tonic. So like I've missed it every time. And so I would love for Tonic to come. You might get a Tonic residency. I don't do like country that often, although I did go to Zac Brown Band years ago, and I thought that was such a great time. Did they resolve their matter of tapping into the city's budget to see if the city would pay for some of it? Because I would be truly sad if we only had 4 concerts this year compared to the like 12 that we always get.
I haven't heard. I should have expected my Facebook post last week to upset as many people as it did, because I know a lot of people just like ProMedica. Rightly so, but again, I stand by what I said. If you have such an issue, don't go to any of those new places downtown, because they're not there without ProMedica.
And I truly understand, like, you know, ProMedica maybe not being willing to put in as much money, especially if they have been laying off so much staff. But you cannot deny the economical benefit that it brings to all of the restaurants, to, you know what I mean? Like the benefit to our I'm talking about just the concerts alone. Yeah. Like those Friday nights. And it is I enjoy it so much. So I remember, I think it was last year, or maybe it was the year. Why was I on my couch when I found out about Common? Wasn't I?
Yeah, it was like a Friday morning at 10 o'clock, because I was over.
Was I working from home?
I was over at the Ability Center.
I was on my couch when I found out about Common, and I just remember like screaming. And of course, I never got to that concert, but
he never got to it.
I'm very excited for it, and I hope that, I hope we get some good stuff.
Like I said, a Tonic residency is definitely very possible.
Well, I'm here for it.
Can you name any more songs than If You Could Only See?
Not off the top of my head, but okay. I could sing it. I could probably sing them.
Please don't.
Like, play some music and I could sing along to it. What's our intro song? We have to figure this out.
We can work on that.
Yeah.
We are wrapping up. I have a Fun in the Sun flyaway contest to do, and then All American Rejects tickets after 4 o'clock.
I love them. Swing, swing, swing from. See? Bring them too.
They're doing Freedom Hill, and that's my favorite song of theirs. I love that song.
Really?
Yep, love that one.
Oh yeah, I like them too.
All right, bye-bye.